Ah, Kratos. Say what you will about his treatment with enemies or one-dimensional characterization, sometimes it's just lovely to beat the crap out of things, standing on the literal shoulders of enemies. Just awesome, okay? That being said, the codization of the games industry has created this sad need to wedge a lot of fanfic quality schlock in between the shooty smashy bits of most AAA franchises. Sometimes it works, kind of, and sometimes it really doesn't. Regardless of that, for better or for worse, Santa Monica have decided to soft reboot the series on the PlayStation 4 with a much more contemplative and narrative-driven experience. You've got a son to take care of. Rather than speculating on said story, we thought you'd be more interested in a technical analysis of what Santa Monica have managed to accomplish with the series' first 8th gen foray. Parenting responsibility commitment issues aside, we have to say we're pretty impressed with what we're seeing here. Santa Monica has always been able to make underpowered hardware positively sing, wringing out the best visuals. The PlayStation 4 now is a much more accomplished piece of hardware than the PlayStation 3, and the generational leap is evident in the game's E3 trailer. The game features a full HD frame buffer, no 900p shenanigans here. This is backed by a fairly comprehensive post-AA solution. Interestingly, the E3 demo ran with an uncapped frame rate. We're betting that Santa Monica will lock down on a V-Synced 30 FPS update. This would not only offer a more consistent experience, but it'd free up some additional headroom for visual effects. It's surprising to note that, despite the impending launch of the PS4 Neo, all E3 showcases ran on standard PS4 hardware. The game's visuals are eye-opening enough as it is. In terms of what's possible for the game's Neo version, a 60 FPS version is likely to be the most tangible improvement. With its relatively linear environments, CPU bottlenecking isn't a likely issue here, and the Neo's beefed-up GPU can readily clear 60 FPS, making for a much more tangible, responsive experience. The biggest change to the core visual experience is more a consequence of design choice. Unlike in previous games, the reboot features a fully free third-person camera, making it a lot more convenient to gawk at the scenery. The reboot features a quality per object motion blur implementation as seen in Ascension. Observe the hand of Kratos' son as he plays with a wooden toy. Per object motion blur lends a sense of groundedness to the animation work. It certainly isn't cheap in terms of rendering time, and few multi-plats, with the notable exception of Dark Souls, utilize the effect last gen. Camera blur is also in place. Cinematic depth of field is present during the cutscene and the finisher sequence over here, but it is relatively subtle. As mentioned earlier, the game appears to make use of a very efficient post-process AA solution. Alpha textures show little aliasing, and together with the depth of field, grass in the background has a soft, clean look here. Traditional hardware MSAA is notoriously intensive. While 1080p with FXAA is the usual for multi-plats on PlayStation 4, developers have been experimenting with a variety of post-process techniques with varying results. Doom's TSSAA, Temporal Super Sampling Anti-Aliasing, is one of the best post-process AA implementations till date, smoothing out geometry and transparencies as well as tackling temporal aliasing. The annoying shimmer when you move around in-game, that is. It's possible that Santa Monica may have whipped up an efficient, bespoke anti-aliasing solution for this game, though. The series has always pushed massive polycounts on screen. In the third game, Kratos' highly detailed model was made up of over 20,000 polygons and featured 2048 by 2048 textures, capturing fine details like wrinkles and veins. The high-res textures were a luxury, considering that the PlayStation 3 had a paltry 256 MB of dedicated VRAM. The game's relatively static set-piece environments allowed Santa Monica to drastically scale up visual detail up close without having to worry about accommodating a wider open world. The reboot takes its obsession with fine detail to the next level. On PlayStation 4, plentiful VRAM allows Santa Monica to feature wonderfully crisp textures. Just have a look at the ground here. Texture detail is complemented by an increase in mesh quality across the board. Everything from Kratos' mesh to incidental assets like the wooden toys receives this high polygon treatment. It's much harder to render rounded and irregular shapes, but the monster close-up here again is wonderfully curved, organic, and gruesome. This, along with geometric deformation, the real-time footprints in the snow here, lead us to think that the game makes use of hardware tessellation. Tessellation is a DirectX 11 feature that dynamically scales the poly count on objects. It's a feature that 8th gen consoles both support, but which hasn't cropped up in a lot of games. The last time we saw tessellated snow was in Assassin's Creed 3 on PC. Trudging through the New England snow was almost the only fun thing about that game. The game takes another definite step forward when it comes to lighting. The E3 demo makes heavy use of volumetric lighting effects. The light shafts, dust, and haze do a lot for the game's atmosphere. Dense volumetric smoke obscures the fire here. The game appears to use a physically based rendering pipeline. Materials react appropriately to light. The snow is dull without being pasty a la Skyrim. Other materials, including metal, ice, and rock, react appropriately without being overly glossy. Subsurface scattering appears to have been used for skin rendering. Note how Kratos' back responds to sunlight here. He no longer looks like he's been slicked with Vaseline. Screen space reflections make the cut as well, with the fire accurately reflected on the water. As for the lighting model, the large number of dynamic light sources were made possible by a new deferred renderer. Light sources are now fully dynamic, and particle effects from dust to monster gibs are used liberally here. All in all, Santa Monica's left us very impressed with the game's E3 outing. A strong platform in the hands of a capable first or second party dev can work wonders. Just ask Naughty Dog. While we're not sure about the implications of the game's narrative, we're pretty happy with how it looks and performs on the PlayStation 4. With early code running so well, we wouldn't be surprised at all if the retail game wound up looking better. PS4 Neo is the elephant in the room here though. With games looking this pretty on the standard PlayStation 4, we wonder what direction first-party devs will take with the Neo. Do they just up the resolution and frame rate then call it a day? Or do they take the in-game visuals to the next level? We'll find out.
We hope you've enjoyed this video, so please consider subscribing to our channel. We do original content, reviews, graphics comparison, and much more, and try to upload a video every day. Thank you very much for checking us out.